Jess Kirson, your special is so funny.
Thank you, Mike.
It's a riot. It just feels alive.
Yeah.
And you're just crushing. It's
Thank
awesome.
you. I've always been conscious of putting on a show. You know what I mean? Like really entertaining people. I also don't think people obviously have a good attention span anymore. And my brain is insane. So I'm just,
Yes. Well, it's interesting. It's like you're one of the people, and it's like we all lament, because you have kids too, but it's like we all lament what social media has done in nightmarish ways.
It's horrible.
But then weirdly, like for certain comedians, it's great. And you're one of those comedians.
Yeah.
I always bring you up because I'm always like, all of us comedians, Jim Gaffigan and like everyone at all the New York clubs for years is like, Jess Kirson's one of the funniest people on the planet.
Oh, thank
But
you.
the industry wasn't like giving
Never.
you a show or whatever.
Never.
And then social media, you're one of the people, the algorithm made your comedy reach the people who wanted your comedy.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting.
I love that you're saying that because I was never, ever handed things. Like it took forever for me to get on Premium Blend on Comedy Central, like years.
Yeah.
Which was the first TV show I did.
Yeah, me too.
And then I couldn't ever get a special. So Bill Burr produced both my specials.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yeah. He produced Comedy Central and this one executive produced. And like they just... It's like the fans have always gotten me. The comics have always gotten me. Like you, comics think you're brilliant. But I haven't needed the industry as much. I mean, I've always worked.
Yeah.
And I have some stuff going on now. But it's like it should have taken half the time. And I'm okay with it. But it is what it is.
It's kind of like it's the good thing about social media, which is like the audience decides.
Right.
The audience doesn't lie.
Yeah.
On social media, and your clips have just blown up, and it's just been very, it's so satisfying to watch. So it's funny, we were just talking about, I had done a corporate event yesterday, which are hard.
They're very hard.
They're very hard because, and I enjoy doing them, but I will say, like, there's this great like Brian Regan line that he did once in an interview. He said once in an interview about how like the job of a comedian is to turn a group of people into an audience. Yes. And like that's what's hard about corporate shows, because when you're in a comedy club, lights and drinks and like everyone's focused on the stage, but you're in a conference room.
When you're in a bathroom, it's very hard to make people laugh.
When you're in someone's kitchen, when you're placed in someone's kitchen, it's hard to make people laugh.
Yeah.
And so like, but you and I have done a lot of corporate events over the years.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then Jen said, my wife said to me yesterday, she goes, when Una gets old enough, she's like, I'll come to some of the corporate events with you. Like it's an act of solidarity.
Yeah. You're like, you'll divorce me.
Exactly.
If you come to,
I was like, no, I don't want you to see me this way.
I don't want you to see me suffer.
Yeah. But then you were saying that you've done, were you saying synagogue shows or?
I've done I'm like a comedy whore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you. I mean, I've done,
same.
we did laundromats and everything, bars and, oh God, I did a
sometimes
supermarket.
think we're exaggerating when we say we did laundromats.
No, we did.
We did laundromats.
Yeah, you, me, Dimitri Martin, like a bunch of people.
Gaffigan's done laundromats.
Yeah, Gaffigan used to do
Gaffigan's a great example. He plays arenas now. He used to do laundromats.
He kills in laundromats.
But weirdly, like, that's how you get good.
Of course, because it's hard. It's But no, I've done so many corporate events, and people will be like, how do you do a clean hour? I'm like, I learned how to do it. Like, I do, Orthodox shows.
Yeah. Orthodox Jewish shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're not easy. Not easy at all, because first of all, there's kids there most of the time, and they're just running around and throwing like chocolate at me. I just stand there like hoping to catch it, and they're like, "You suck," and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's a lot." But I've had so many experiences at these Orthodox shows or just shows for old people, not even Jewish. I always say this, they look at you like this, just just judging you,
wincing, wincing and squinting and judging.
Yeah,
all
they're dying during the
simultaneously.
show. When I say I killed, I mean like someone died. And this is amazing. I have so many stories, but One time a woman just had her head down the whole time in the front row. And I'm like, either she's sound asleep or dead. Like, I just was like, whatever, it's fine. If she's dead, then she fell, like she went peacefully because her head was just down. And then in the middle of the show, she just raised her face like this and she goes, "You're all over the place."
Oh my God. You're all over the place. Oh my God. I had one the other day. So Nikki Glazer did The Beacon, and I did a spot on one of the shows one night. And sometimes you do someone else's show and they just want to see the person they came for, which makes sense.
Right.
Guy in the front row. This is so crazy. Guy in the front row, kind of like half passed out. And
everyone's
during my set. During my set.
Of course. I'm screaming on stage and they're like,
and like half passed out. And then he wakes up and he looks at me and he points at me. And then he does thumbs down.
Yeah, this happens.
And then he goes back to sleep. It was the most perverse heckle.
Do you think
I've
he
ever
thought he
seen.
was somewhere else?
I do.
He might have.
I think there was a disassociation occurring.
Yeah, I think he was doing it to his father. Yeah, I wrap it up. That's when someone did that
wrap
to
it
me,
up.
I almost killed it. I'm not kidding. I freaked out. Did you
The
ever
finger motion
do you
for
ever
wrap it
lose
up?
it? I lose it like 1 to 2 times a year. Normally I don't. Like, you could be on your phone. I'm like, ugh, whatever. I can't. But once or twice a year I lose it. Like,
What's the worst you ever lost it?
Oh, this is a great story. I don't even think I've ever told this on a podcast before. Yeah. I was at the Comedy Cellar and I was very burnt out. Like, I was on the road for weeks.
Yeah.
And this guy supposedly had been heckling some comics and he was sitting in the front row in the Fat Black, which is a tiny room. Like, everyone can see each other.
Rooms
right. 60
small.
people.
Yeah.
And so I had heard he was like a problem, buff, like financial guy from Connecticut, white.
Yeah.
And
white. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big problem.
Yeah.
Don't get me
jacked up
Don't
white.
get me started, Jess.
Even whiter than you. And he was sitting there with his girlfriend, and they were very attractive. And I went up. I was the last comic.
Yeah.
And they got up to leave, like the minute I went up.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm sorry you guys have to go. Like, everyone saw them leave. And I'm like, hopefully you're going to have sex. You're both very attractive. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And then they left. And then he comes back in the room. He walks back in during my set.
Yeah.
And he goes, by the way, your hair is fucking disgusting.
Oh, God. What a weird thing to say.
I lost it.
Oh, my God.
I switch. You ever switch?
Oh, yeah.
Something happened in my brain, and I was like, I got silent. And then he left the room, and the audience was like, and I said, I couldn't believe I did this. I'm like, excuse me for 1 second. And I put the mic in the stand, and I walked off the stage quietly. God. And walked back into that curtain area. It's a tiny area where people pay.
Yeah.
In between the two rooms.
Yeah.
And he was standing there with his girlfriend and the security guys, who are enormous. You know what I mean? Like the guys who are at the cellar.
Big guys.
I couldn't believe it. I took him and I pushed him against the wall by his neck. He was huge. And I said, don't you ever... I know you're freaking out. This is a crazy thing. And I said, he was looking at me like he was in shock. And I wasn't. And I said, don't you ever fucking talk to me like that again. And so the whole crowd heard me because there's only a curtain. And I'm like, you fucking hate women. Any man that would say what you just said to me hates women. I'm like, what did your mother do to you?
Oh my God.
And then I looked at her and I go, if you talk to me, a stranger like that, you must be the most abusive fucking boyfriend. Like, I wasn't screaming. I was literally just like talking to him as if he needed, I was like, you need help. You need to go talk to someone and the security guys were dying laughing. They're like 7 feet tall.
Right.
They were screaming, laughing that I did that in front of him.
Oh my God.
And then I took my hand off his shirt and I went back. I don't get physical with people, but I lost it. And I went back on the stage and I go, okay. And they stood up and gave me a standing ovation. The people in the audience. And I just went into my set. I'm like, I'm sorry I just did that, but I snapped. Like,
that is so crazy.
You know, it reminded me of what I grew up with. Like my dad was amazing and, you know, like the funniest person I've ever known, but he had a temper problem.
Oh, yeah.
And he said a lot of stuff that was not okay.
Oh, me too. Same
Really?
with my dad.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
In my
very bad.
My new special, I talk about it a lot. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see that so I can cry. But he was like he was difficult in that way. So I snapped.
Yeah, I feel like I had more of those earlier
Me
in my
too.
career because it's like what you're describing is interesting of someone saying something that's just like cold and mean.
It's mean. I'm like,
and you're on stage, and so it's like we're not equipped for that.
no, we're not.
No one
we're
is trained for
yeah,
that.
and we're not okay. I mean, I'm not.
No,
So,
totally.
yeah.
No, I mean that's the funny thing about like, you know, you and I are friends from the Comedy Cellar through the years, and it's like people always say, or some people say, like Seinfeld, whom I revere, is always like, you know, there's crazy people in every profession. Comedians are no crazy or whatever. It's like,
No, that's not.
Let's walk that back a little bit.
I don't think accountants are as crazy as comedians.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a broken profession. Like if you sit at that table, you sit at a table full of comedians with
Mike,
six comedians for an hour, you'd be like, you might have reevaluated that statement.
If you see the table at the Comedy Cellar with comedians, it's like the shared area in a mental institution.
Yeah, it's group therapy.
Like someone's just talking to themselves, someone's crying, someone's like, like
people are shouting at each other.
Let me explain something. The
political
shouting,
debate that's fierce.
I can't do it anymore.
Oh God. All of us comedians, we think of you as a comedian's comedian, which is a term people use because you're fearless, or you seem to be fearless.
I'm not fearless.
But yeah, so what is the fear? Like when you're on stage or when you were starting out, what was the actual fear?
Well, first of all, I'd never performed before, so I was panicked. I was throwing up before my first performance.
Really?
Yeah, I was really not okay. I was freaking out.
Wow.
And
I threw up after one of my first ones too.
You did?
On the sidewalk at a strip mall
Strip mall
in Virginia. Yeah.
Oh, this is getting worse and worse.
Fat Tuesdays in Virginia. I was opening for this guy.
Literally everything you're saying is making it worse. Fat Tuesday.
It was like a one night. It's not a comedy club. It's like a one night a week. They have comedy.
Right.
There's a PA system. You know.
Yeah.
And they're I'm supposed to do 30 minutes. And I know
that's a lot.
Yeah, and I know that I don't have it.
Right, of course.
They go, Mike, you're on. And I have 10 minutes probably of comedy.
That's happened to me. And then, you're like, when you're... Yeah.
Which makes it worse, by the way.
Yeah.
The slowing down of comedy is the great death of comedy.
Right.
The thing that you're going to buy yourself more minutes of comedy with slowing down is the great fallacy.
Yeah.
So then I threw up on the sidewalk and then I walked on. And then the comedian I opened for apparently has told this story often to this very day.
Yeah, that's his new act.
Yeah. So, but you threw up
I was
first
panicked
time.
about performing for a long, and I still, I go through a really weird experience now because I'll go on stage in front of 1,000 people in a theater, and I disassociate. I can't take it in. I can't. My ego cannot take the whole thing in. It's like it's a job.
Right.
And I'm there, but I'm not there. This is honestly the truth because it's so overwhelming to me.
Interesting.
Like when I get off sometimes, I'm like, what just happened?
Right.
Why am I standing in front of 1,000 people? Like, what happened to me? I was just like this girl from Jersey. I never expected any of this. I never thought any of this would happen. I really didn't.
That's interesting.
And so it's very overwhelming. And I need more of an ego and I need to be a little less humble because I have to literally like force myself to stand there. In my mind, I'm like, just stay here, take it in because it's a lot for me.
It's interesting because that is one thing that when I was doing that corporate event yesterday and I'm talking on stage about how my wife is an introvert.
Yeah.
And then this guy said to me afterwards, he goes, oh, you say your wife's an introvert, but a lot of people say comedians are introverts. And I was like, it's true.
Yeah.
But in an introvert relationship, someone has to be the extrovert or else you'll just never leave the house. Right? Like that's the whole thing.
Yes.
But as a comedian, it's this odd thing because people expect, because you're on stage talking, when you get off stage,
Right.
they think the party continues.
With me, yeah.
And it totally doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Like, I'm so awkward when
Yeah.
I'm not on stage.
I have a theory, which is that some of the reason why introverts end up on stage is because when we're in groups of people and we're telling a story or a joke, everyone just interrupts you.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
You'll be like, yeah, one time I was, fishing. And they'll be like, I have a story about when I was fishing. And you're like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, no, I'm telling a story,
Yeah.
But I think that comedy is an attempt to take control of that.
I
sometimes.
agree. I don't know how you grew up, but I just was silent. Like
Oh,
with my
interesting.
friends, I was on and I was joking and I was the class clown.
Yeah.
But at home, everyone was so much that I just shut down.
Because you're a big family?
We're big in personality.
Yeah.
Like everyone is like, I used to say the women in my family when I was a kid, it was like hurricanes coming in, like tornadoes. They're
Right.
just powerful women. And, it was like, this is okay, not in a bad way, but I felt that everyone was controlling and I just shut down.
So then you were kind of holding a lot of stuff in. So then once you did comedy, it was like an explosion.
Right. And I feel
yeah.
like I'm in control now. Like I have power. When I'm on stage, I feel very powerful. When I'm off stage, I feel like a mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's usually when I see you. When you and I see each other at the club, it's usually we're both a little bit of a mess.
Yeah, of course.
It is.
But we should be. This is a crazy business. It's
yeah,
nuts.
and it's a crazy world, no less. So then
it's
when you would throw up at the beginning of your career,
when I was bulimic. Oh God,
Jesus.
sorry.
When you were throwing up from fear of going on stage, what were you afraid would happen?
Everything. I mean, I'm a fearful person. I've always been filled with fear.
You're gonna fall down.
Everything,
you're gonna bomb.
everything.
Yeah.
On stage?
Yeah.
Oh, I was mostly afraid of what people would say to me because I, with the verbal abuse stuff, I was really afraid. I felt very scared. And I was heckled a lot in the beginning. And I wasn't funny enough to make it funny. So it became this argument, like bad.
Were you out when you started?
No.
So people didn't know you were a lesbian?
No, I purposely, this was my decision and it should be anyone's decision. But again, back then, I mean, this is a long time ago. We've been doing it for a very long time. There wasn't a ton of out comedians.
No, there weren't.
And I looked at what a lot of people did, like, oh my God, Wanda and Ellen and
Ellen,
this one
Rosie,
and that one. I mean, they
on
all,
and on and
right,
on.
Rosie. And then they did it. And once we had my first daughter, I'm like, I can't. Like, I have to be okay with this and be open and free. And I don't want her to ever feel like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I came out. But I've been doing gay shows for years. By the way, I didn't want to be seen as a lesbian comic because
Right.
I'm not. I'm a comic who happens to be a lesbian, so I would be called that if I had started that way.
Yeah, and also there's a lot of like just gay comic shows and all that kind of stuff, but you wanted to be just in the ensemble of just comedians.
Yes, which, yeah.
Well, I was going to ask do you figure jokes out on stage and then what's the process? You go home, you listen, you transcribe?
I come up with an idea.
Yeah.
And then I write jokes for it, but I usually go up and then just like improv other stuff. That's what I did last night. And then I write that stuff down.
Yeah.
And then I keep building on it. So it's because a lot of times, as you know, you'll write stuff and you're like, this is hilarious. And then when you say it, it's like, this is not, there's nothing funny
there's
about
nothing
what
worse than that feeling.
It's horrible.
The laughter in your head at the joke.
It's the worst.
Imagining people loving
dying.
you.
You're like, this is so clever. This is going to kill.
Me.
And then they're like,
my life is going to change.
Right. But then what about the ones that you go up and it kills from the start? That is heaven.
Oh, nothing like drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's drugs.
It is.
Yeah.
It's great.
Your mother's a therapist and used to see clients in the house growing up. What was the oddest patient you remember growing up that she had?
This is so, I I have thought many times, and I've been asked to do a one-woman show about my situation with my mother because
oh my God, yeah.
we lived in Jersey. We lived in a house where she saw clients in the basement.
Sure.
And it was insane. It was
it really?
insane. Like, you interviewed Zach Braff, my
Yes.
stepbrother. And so we would listen to the clients.
Jesus Christ.
We would like...
You're literally, Jess, you're describing, as a patient of therapy, you're describing my biggest nightmare.
I know. Well, now there's sound machines and there's
Sound machines.
Yeah, like there's all different things. Well, most therapists use sound machines.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mine
you'd
uses a
listen to
loudspeaker so the whole town can hear
It's broadcast at Lowe's.
it. Lowe's. Yeah, because I'm a lesbian.
Do you think of your profession as a comic analogous to your mom's job as a therapist? Like
100%.
Yeah, it feels
it's
similar. When I watch you
I-
do crowd work, it feels like that.
Well, first of all, I went to school to be a social worker for a master's, and I was like, I can't do this. It's too upsetting. Like, I can't listen to
interesting.
people. I can't.
It's just
I'm
traumatic.
amazed by that people can do that. Yeah. I feel people's energy even when I'm in a store or something. Like, I just couldn't
When you're at
handle it.
Lowe's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I'm in Home Depot or the car shop. On the softball field. But yeah, that was so hacky. I hate myself. So
You're doing the voice.
yeah. Oh, right. You're so hacky.
You're
You're doing the best you can.
It's a podcast. No one will hear it.
Yeah. This isn't a big deal. I do. I've been in therapy since I'm 8 years old.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. I was sent very young. And so and my mom, I'm very aware. Plus I had anxious, moody parents. So you learn how to like deal with people and deal with situations.
What at 8 years old led your parents to put you in therapy?
It was my mom.
Oh, your mom.
Because she was like very into therapy and therapists.
Right.
And so I was right in there. I had a relationship with my mother, and then I had a relationship with her with therapy stuff.
I would guess she loves your comedy.
She loves it.
Yeah. That's
And
the kind of person who would love your comedy. My parents, they don't dislike my comedy. They're just not into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you're so brilliant.
It's nice of you to say, but I don't think they disrespect me. It's more just like it's not their thing.
I mean, yeah. Who do they like? Carrot Top?
They love Carrot Top. Yeah. They love
Earthquake? I mean, who?
they love Carrot Top and Earthquake, and yeah, they have a lot of bootleg Bernie Mac.
Oh
albums.
my God, that's amazing. Bernie Mac, Tracy Morgan. I know there's so many people they're into.
No, they don't. I don't know, but they're just, and also I talk about so many personal things.
I know,
think
me
they
too.
don't love that.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of my upbringing. But your mom, I would guess, loves your comedy.
She's the kindest person. She really is. She doesn't have a bad bone in her body, and she really was trying to fix me.
Yeah.
She was always trying to fix me. But
Yeah.
the thing is, kids, they need to feel their feelings. Everyone
Right, of
does.
course.
So it's like there was always like, okay, well, let's do eye movement. Let's do Reiki. Let's do
Sure,
this. And it's like,
sure.
no, let me just feel this.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done a lot of work on myself to feel.
Yeah, sure. That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would imagine she would love your comedy because it's so unfiltered, which is in a lot of ways what a therapist is trying to get someone to be.
Yeah.
Is
and
unfiltered.
It is.
Unbottle themselves.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I know you're the same. I can't do comedy and not be real and talk about my stuff. Like,
You ever say anything where you're shocked by what you've said and you're like,
I always,
uh-oh.
every time.
Can you think of one where you're like, I actually probably shouldn't mention that?
You mean about my life?
Yeah. Or even a feeling.
Yeah. I mean, oh my God. I've talked about my parents, my dad, or tell a story, and the crowd is like, and to me, it's funny at this point.
Yeah.
Like, but it doesn't work. It doesn't get laughs because they feel bad for me. Like, my dad
Yes.
always hit his head against things when he was angry. He didn't hit us, but he would like slam his head into a
Oh
cabinet.
my God, that's so funny.
It's so funny.
He would slam his head into a
Yeah,
cabinet.
like, Jesus. and
my
and I'm
God.
like, okay, I won't get a haircut. I'll grow it out.
And you talk about that on stage, and the audience would be like, "Ee,
They're
like, I feel
freaking
bad."
out. Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. That is definitely a balancing act, I feel like, with comics, where when a comic watches another comic, there's no degree of dark
100%.
that one of us won't laugh at each other.
We laugh
about.
hard, and if
Yeah.
no one's laughing, we laugh even harder.
But the audiences usually pull you back from that, and they're like, "Wait a minute, that's a bridge too far."
Right.
Do you have a bit that you've done where it didn't work at first, and it ends up being like one of your strongest
Yes,
bits because it's too much?
That I went to fat camp.
Oh, interesting.
I went for 4 years, and for a long time they were like, "This is the saddest." So I had to learn how to say it.
How did
in
you
a way.
learn?
Because, after doing something for so long, you can tell which parts you need to like soften
Yeah.
or fluff.
Right.
So I would say, I wanted to go.
Right. Oh, that's
Like my
interesting.
parents
Yes.
didn't send me. I really wanted to go. And it was a blast because all the kids were really nice because they hated themselves. Oh my God. So everyone was real.
That's so funny.
And it was like, it's a great bit because there's so many more things I could say though. And I've tried to say, and they just can't go with me. Like we lined up on Saturdays in bathing suits on hills. It was in the Berkshires in Massachusetts to get weighed. And we got weighed where we ate.
Oh my gosh.
In the mess hall, which is so sad to people, but it's so funny to me.
Yeah.
Like now it's so funny.
And I'm sure really cathartic for people.
Yes.
Who had the same experience.
Of course.
Yeah.
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 Or people who've had a cattle.
I had that with my sleepwalking. Like when I first talked about jumping through a window sleepwalking, the audience
so
was like,
funny. I know.
But then as long as you assure them at the beginning that you're okay now,
Right.
I feel like that was the key.
It is the
Like,
key.
I'm
Like
good.
I'll say, I'm
I'm
okay
good.
talking
Yeah,
about this.
yeah.
I feel great about myself
Yeah.
now. But and I will say sometimes, like, you can let go. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you're not laughing, it's because you hate your own body. Like that's psychological, but it's true. I'm like, you're not that worried about me. You have issues with your own stuff. I really believe that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how, I have that with my new show where I'm like, I talk about my dad having a stroke and sometimes it gets quiet. And I'm like,
Of
it's
course.
my dad.
Right.
I literally tell the audience, I go, it's my dad. It would be weird if I was talking about your dad. If I was like, this guy's dad had a stroke. It's like the most perverse insult comedy ever.
I know about everyone in this audience. Yeah. Your dad suffered a lot.
I've done some research.
Right.
You go around the room, talk
Yeah.
about everyone's ailing
Yeah.
parents.
Right.
Do you I feel like your persona on stage is like you're witty, but also you're tough, but also you're loose and
That is
you
me.
say wild things. Like, when you are you ever intimidating to people off stage and you have to like
Yes,
diffuse it?
always.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that I am the way I am on stage, and
Yeah.
that's like a small part of me.
Yeah.
I mean, part of why I'm so like that is because I'm so scared and vulnerable.
Right,
So I'm like
totally.
an animal that's like afraid, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're there with a bat.
Yeah, I'm petrified.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
do you have a trick for diffusing people?
You mean on stage?
Off stage, if people are intimidated by you. Because I feel like when I first met you, I was intimidated by you.
I know whenever people tell me that, I'm like, but I get it.
Was there a turning point in your comedy career where you felt like you could be brutally honest about like personal things in your life? Because I feel like when I met you, you weren't talking as much about personal stuff. And I feel like you
No.
went into that in the last like few years.
I always talked about my mom being a therapist. I mean, not in the beginning.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't talk about relationship stuff. Also, now I have kids, so I didn't talk about that. And that's personal.
Yeah.
I mean, not talking about relationship stuff is a lot. I made jokes about like my weight issues or stuff, but they weren't how they are now about what caused them.
Yeah. Do people ever, because you're like, people see this in your special, but it's like your show I would describe as so different from other comedy.
Thank you.
Like it's so
That's
original.
really important to me.
It's so important. But do you ever have people That's not what they came for,
course.
and they didn't expect it. And have you ever had people complain about you?
Of course.
Like, what would they? What do the complaints look like?
I mean, they're, that I'm vulgar, offensive.
Right.
I do characters of Jewish people that I grew up with, and I've had Jews call me anti-Semitic.
Oh, right. You do a Jewish grandmother character.
What are you talking about? This is my grandmother.
What do you think is, when you're doing a Jewish grandmother, is that your grandmother?
Yes.
That voice?
Yeah. You need to go. Like, that's my nanny B. That's my nanny B. And I grew up around all of
People
that.
who are just listening to this should watch the special and see the face that you make.
Yeah.
You contort your face into what's probably what your grandmother's face looks
Yeah,
like.
I've been doing faces and voices I'm talking since I'm a young kid.
Since you were a kid.
I was alone a lot, so I would entertain myself.
Yeah.
And I'd just be in front of the mirror and just be making faces and voices, and I was insane. Like,
Yeah.
It's cute, but it was, someone walked in, they'd be like, this kid needs help.
Yeah, it's so similar. Rachel Feinstein was on the podcast last week, and it's similar.
My best friend.
I know I know you guys are great friends. Both of you just embody the people.
She is so brilliant. I can't. Like, when she does her grandmother, her mother, and her mom's a therapist.
Yeah.
I mean, we have
has her
so
mom
much
and her
in
mother-in-law.
common.
Yeah, you have so much in common. You both do a thing where you embody the character, and it feels. I mean, I don't know these people, but it feels accurate. Do you try to go for accuracy?
I do, because I just feel like if I'm going to do a character, it can't be half-assed. Like, I really need to become the person as much as I can, like the body things, and
Right.
It's just so much more interesting. And I got that from watching old comics, like people who did characters, Saturday Night Live stuff. And,
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Who were your biggest influences?
I mean, Gilda Radner.
Yeah.
I loved, she's not a comic, but Lucille Ball, because her face was so, Carol Burnett show was
Incredible.
I died laughing at that show.
Yeah.
Old Saturday Night Live people.
Yeah.
I was more into sketch stuff than stand-up. I was never, believe it or not, I was never a fan of stand-up. I'm still not.
Yeah, it's interesting how, I'm still not.
I'm not. I mean,
That's
it sounds
interesting.
crazy, but I don't watch, I'll watch you and 10 other people. I'll watch Gaffigan. I'll watch people that I can't watch all these specials. I feel bad saying that, but I just can't do it.
What is it that takes you out of it?
I want to know who someone is. I
Right.
want to, it's like, I want to know who you are when you get off stage. I want to know your vulnerabilities, your characteristics. I really do. I
feel
don't
the
want to
same
hear
way.
you just talk about other people.
No, I feel the same
I also
way.
feel like, and I'm sure you do. I mean, look at what you do. You're so vulnerable and honest and real. And it's so much harder to talk about your relationships or your parents. I mean, it's easier to just talk about just random things.
Right.
But I just don't laugh hard. I always say there's two different comics. There's ones who are givers and there's ones who are takers. And you can really tell when you watch a stand-up. You can tell the ones that really want to make people laugh, that want to help people, that are doing it mostly selflessly. And then there's ones who it's all about them. It's all about them getting attention.
Yeah.
And I've never laughed at those people, ever.
Yeah, that makes total sense. This is the slow round. Is there a song that makes you cry?
Piano music makes me cry.
Yeah.
I love George Winston.
Yeah.
And when I'm having a time, I listen to piano music, and sometimes I listen to music to make myself cry, because I have a hard time crying sometimes.
I'm the same way.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I'm built up.
I have that with movies and music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of music do you listen to?
I feel like what gets me in an emotional state is like the National, the band The National is very emotional to me.
Yes, I get it.
Radiohead is very emotional to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that piano music, that's really interesting. I had it last night where my daughter Una was playing ukulele, and I'm not very good, but I play guitar a little bit, and we were just jamming, and it actually brought me so much joy. I was almost like tears of joy.
That's funny you just said that, because I had tears of joy the other day with my kids.
Really?
Yeah. My daughter Madison was like acting out and having a really hard time, and my daughter Isabella like comforted her as her big sister and was like, do you want me to and like Madison calmed down, and I just cried. Like I was like, this is so beautiful. Like I was so proud of Isabella.
There's something about having kids where it makes you understand love and a type of love that I think in some ways you're incapable of realizing anyone could have loved you that way.
100%. And being able to love someone else the way you wish you were loved.
Yeah.
Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
or understanding that actually maybe your mother did love you that way, kind of thing.
Well, when you have kids, obviously everyone says it, but you really understand what your parents experienced.
Big
I mean,
time.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my bits that I was going to work out today is so sweet. It was my daughter has been baking lately because she's watching a lot of baking.
How old is she?
Shows. She's 9. She's turning 10.
We
this
both
month.
have a 9-year-old.
Yeah, and she's so sweet, and she's been baking like cakes and muffins, and she, for my special, she baked me 2 cakes, and one was for Daddy, and one was for Mike Birbiglia. And then my punchline for it was, if I could just get my wife to think of me that way.
That is so funny.
Isn't that great?
I love that she baked you one for Mike Birbiglia.
I know.
That is so. My kids say and do.
Yeah.
That's
great.
Yeah. It's so I would do that on stage now. They say things to me that are so, because they're so honest.
Yeah.
Like Madison the other day was like, "Mama, you have eyelashes in your nostrils."
Oh my God.
I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not okay.
In your nostrils
yeah, they always say stuff
phenomenal.
like that. Are you a boy? I'm like, why? Because you never wear dresses. You know?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You used the bit that when you and I were starting, we started around the same time. You used to do a thing about maybe like your nephew or your niece, and you did the voice, and it killed me.
Of the kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always do that voice.
Oh my God.
I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, when I took my nephew into the bathroom when he was a kid, and he's like, "You have a funny looking penis." I'm like, "You should see the one in my drawer."
Oh my God.
That looks like a menorah.
That is
intense.
So funny. All right. Can you remember a time in your life when you were an inauthentic version of yourself?
Oh my God. My whole life. Because
Yeah.
I just wanted to be liked, and I didn't even know who I was.
Yeah.
You know, as a kid, I was authentic with my friends. I was talking about this the other day. I have the most amazing friends that I grew up with, and they really saved me.
You're still close with them?
Yes. My
so they
group
saw
of
you through the
girlfriends,
phases of your
everything,
of your life. Yeah.
Everything. And they really, we really grew up together. And I was real with them. But I think with everyone else, I wanted to be liked. I wanted to make them laugh. I was afraid, if they really got to know me, they wouldn't like me, all that stuff.
What was the phase that when you look back, you cringe at?
I had a very hard time in my 20s. I was just lost, and I had no idea who I was. I was coming out. I wouldn't accept that I was a lesbian for everyone else accepted it.
Interesting.
And I had a very hard time with it for a long time. I thought there was something wrong with me. I'm not even religious at all, and I thought that I'm something's wrong. I was, something happened in my birth.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So were you in denial about it? Would you say to people you weren't gay?
Yeah, I would never say I'm straight.
Right.
Ever. Even when I was doing stand-up and not out, I would never, ever say my boyfriend or ever. That's insane. But I would always say that I'm bi, because I also had difficult relationships with women, and I didn't know if I would be with a guy again.
Right.
I was with guys in high school. In college. But I was always wasted.
Right.
Because I'm sober, and I was in addiction. I was always drunk, so I couldn't have sex with a guy unless I was drunk.
Right.
And I never wanted to spend time with them. If they wanted to date me, I'm like, oh my God, will you leave? I don't I'm friends with so many guys, but I didn't want to be in relationships with them.
Right. You have that great joke in your new special about people coming up to you being like, you haven't met the right guy.
I can change you.
Yeah.
That's very common. You know what I thought interesting enough? Women don't say that to gay men.
Interesting.
I need to talk about that because can you imagine a woman being like, yeah, I can change you. You haven't been with the right woman.
No.
I just don't think that happens a lot. But
No.
men do say that to gay women a lot.
That's interesting.
It's like, what makes you think you can, like, you're that special?
Right. Where does that confidence come from? What is the most absurd thing you've ever done while drunk?
Oh my God. This is not okay. I was very, very, very high.
Okay.
I wasn't drinking. I mean, there's so many things I did when I was drinking, but I was so high and I drove at University of Maryland. Again, I was an addict, so it's not okay. But I ended up hitting the University of Maryland sign, the sign that
Wow.
you like when you enter.
It's like an 80s movie.
I know water came. No,
Yeah.
I hit the huge sign and I was fine, and so were my friends. But I got 4 flat tires,
Oh my God.
and it was
Were you a
insane.
student?
Yes, I was a freshman.
You were a freshman in college and you drove into the college sign?
The huge University of Maryland sign, not even just like a stop sign. I'm talking about I went up on a thing.
Did the
and-
cops show up?
Yes. And
Well,
and it was raining.
Did they do breathalyzer and all that?
No, it wasn't. I think because I was like a sorority girl and my friends were in the, again, it's like something that sounds so horrible, but like we looked okay.
Oh God.
And I think they could tell I wasn't drunk. Like I was speaking normally, but I had
Right.
smoked like 17 bong hits.
Yeah.
But yeah, just crazy things where I, made a fool of myself a
Yeah.
lot, but I made people laugh. So
Right. This is the section of the show where we work out material. This is I just wrote this in my notebook the other day, but when I was filming the special, I was going each night to a gym near the theater to go to the steam room and to try to get my voice ready because, and so I wasn't clearing my throat. And so I walk into the steam room, I throw water on the steam catcher thing. So it'd be a ton of steam. There's all of a sudden you can't see anything 2 feet in front of me.
Yeah.
And then I hear a lot of friction.
friction.
And then possibly some lube. And then I heard someone say, "Oh God, yes." And then I left the steam room and I realized I think some people just want different things out of the steam room. They just have different goals. And this is how I write. I just wrote down a bunch of possible tags for it, which is, it was a good omen for my special. It was a happy ending before an unhappy ending.
That's very funny.
That's fun.
I love it.
And then the other tag I wrote is, I stayed in the steam room and my voice sounds fantastic and I do it for the fans.
That's
sort of
very.
fun.
I love it.
For the fans. And then
Wow, I got to go to that steam room.
That's
a lot.
That's a very male steam room thing. That's not as much a female steam room, right?
No, I mean, if lesbians were in a steam room, they would just be like, "Do you feel safe if I touch your hair? I just don't want to trigger you. If I, how does it feel with your shoulder being touched?" Yeah. Just crying.
No, it's funny.
Yeah.
I'd heard about that, of course, from my gay friends for
all
years. Of
right.
like, yeah, it's the steam room, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I believe you. And then it was the first time where I was like, oh, wow.
It's funny to picture you in there with the two of them.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yes.
I mean, you could really like say, like, even if they're like, "Come on, daddy," and you're like, "Is someone's father?"
Are they having a family reunion?
Like you're clueless.
Yeah.
They're having a family.
Oh, there's a family reunion.
Yeah, it feels like a barbecue in here. Yeah.
I'm doing crowd work in the steam room. Is anyone celebrating
That's
a birthday?
hilarious. Where are you from?
All right, so there's that, which is fun. at the steam room story. And then I thought you'd enjoy this. The older I get, the more I use the phrase one day at a time, and I'm not even in Alcoholics Anonymous. Like everything from Alcoholics Anonymous relates to my life except the alcohol.
Do you know that my mom has said that everyone in the world could benefit from the program?
Oh, I think it's an amazing program.
Amazing program.
No, I think it is.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
I mean, one minute at a time sometimes. I'm serious. Like
1 minute at a time.
It's true. Like, I mean,
that's the title of this episode.
Well,
you just
could
named
be going
it.
through something and know that it can change in 5 minutes. Like doesn't have to stay that way.
By the way, that's a great tag for that bit.
Yeah.
1 minute at a time. Because a lot of times with a bit, it's like, okay, the 1 day at a time is really kind of the joke of it is like that I relate to everything in AA, even though I'm not technically an alcoholic. But it is really like breaking down like, well, what's the truth underneath that? The truth underneath that, it is kind of every minute at a time you're going like, wait, what? Am I going to be okay? Is everyone going to be okay?
Yeah, we think things through and it's normally negative. Like, we're like, this is going to happen, then this is going to... We have no idea what's going to... You have a child.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course.
Someone passes away. You end up getting another special. Like, we have no idea what's going to happen.
I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning. Fully awake, wide
comedian.
open, eyes wide open. Mm-hmm. No, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do breathing exercises.
This is what I do too.
And it's like breathing. And it's like breathing from my diaphragm.
Yep.
You know, and then it's like an hour of this.
Yeah.
My body literally is like,
feel
nope,
worse.
no, thank you. No, thank you, breathing exercises.
Yeah.
Like, countdown from 500, 499. We're all gonna die.
Funny. This is so,
this is this morning.
I'm going to die soon after you're doing the breathing exercises. I know. I really get it. It's so, but it is 1 minute at a time.
Yeah.
And like, if I didn't live by 1 day at a time, I would not be okay.
It's a really deep idea.
There's also that term, I don't know if you've heard it, but it's a quote. And I'm spiritual and I believe in a higher power, but it's make plans and God laughs.
That's right. My dad always says that to me.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's like we think all these things are going to happen and it's not.
You want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
That's the quote. I said it wrong.
Or sorry, everybody, tell her your plans.
It's okay.
Jess, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It
Jess,
sounded the same.
No, I'm so sorry.
Okay, it's okay. You just mocked me.
Tell her your plans. Do you have any bits that you're working on that are like half-baked premises or ideas that...
Yeah, a lot. I mean, all that therapy stuff.
Yeah.
Which is difficult because people feel bad sometimes for me. But like, you know, my therapist now, and my mom has always said this about putting a chair in front of me and telling someone the things that I wish I could to an empty chair.
Wait, what's the advice?
It's like you're talking to the person as if, like, say it's an empty chair, but I have to picture like my father sitting there and then me confronting him.
This is advice your mom gives you?
I've had a lot of therapists give me this advice.
Okay.
And I've done it at times, and it's real. Like it's worked.
So you've done that exercise. You
I've
put
done
a chair in front.
every-
I'll try this. You put the chair in front of you. The person who you wish you had said something to,
Yes.
maybe. In my case, probably be my dad. In your case, maybe it's your dad. Like, you just say that. Do you say it out loud? Or in your head?
Yeah, you can end up screaming and really... There's a bunch of things you can do with that. But anyway, I say, like, this is so new, but I'm like, you know, just felt uncomfortable and unfamiliar. So I put things on the chair to make me feel like I put his toupee and his secretary.
That's funny.
But also I just think this is so funny. I actually, when I went to a
rotten
trauma
fruit.
place, rotten fruit. A corned beef sandwich.
Yeah, corned beef sandwich, some coins.
Coins. A button. I actually was I went to a trauma place a couple times to deal with trauma, to deal with stuff. work on myself. And I was given a baby, like a fake baby doll, and I was supposed to hold it and picture it, me talking to myself as a baby.
Oh, wow.
And at first I couldn't do it at all. Like I was really like, this is insane. In front of other people in the group. It was very hard for me.
Wow.
But I did end up going there.
Was it?
I was sobbing.
You were sobbing, so it did work.
Because I had no relationship with my inner child. And I was just like, it's okay. It's not your fault. And then I threw it against the wall. And I'm joking.
Okay. I threw it against the wall. And it's in 10 pieces, and I keep it in my purse.
Yeah, and I keep the head in my purse. It's all that stuff that's so funny.
Yeah.
But it's deep.
It's deep.
And you also have to make people in Oklahoma laugh with it.
No, of course. That's what I always call like joke soil. It's like that's all that stuff you're describing is like super fertile for jokes.
Yeah.
Because it's so kind of genuine and intense. And like I think that once you can get the audience to feel like it's okay. Because the holding the baby thing, it's really interesting.
It was very uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do this. And then let me tell you something. I was like sobbing. I felt so bad for the kid in me who just was petrified and felt alone and scared and had to make people laugh to feel like I felt like I had to do that to get people to like me, which is a gift now. But it was... The other thing I do is, I don't know if you remember this.
One tag for that is like, so they gave me the baby and I cut it up with scissors. And at the end of the show tonight, I'm going to hand out the pieces of the baby. And that's why we're here tonight.
Would you like the tongue?
Like to turn it super dark.
Oh, that's really funny.
But it was healing.
It was very healing.
I feel great.
I just hold up a bag of body parts from a doll.
Oh my God.
Throw them out to people.
No, that's great though. I love that.
I mean, the other thing that I think might help you, I mean this, and it's helped me my whole life, but my entire life, my mother told me to write letters to people and not send them. Have you ever done that? It's amazing.
I've done it with emails. I've never done it with letters.
Yeah, you actually, emails
is kind of amazing.
You actually write out a letter and then you end up burning it or burying it.
Oh, that's interesting.
It sounds like what? But it really... It's like you're dealing with resentment. It's program stuff too, but you're like getting your resentment out and then letting it go. So I wrote letters to everyone, and I read letters when the first time I was on Comedy Central, my first TV gig. I read therapeutic letters, and it used to be everyone's favorite bit I did. So I'm working on new letters, and this is so many years later. But I'm like, I need to read these letters again.
Yeah, I did it. I've done it with emails over the years. I got that advice as well. But you got to be careful.
Did you send them to people?
No, I didn't send them.
Oh, okay, good.
The key to the not sending, don't put the 2 in. Because sometimes those things can shoot off.
CC 5.
Send. Oh, shit, I said that one?
Write it in a book. I mean, I'm not telling you, but
no,
if anyone's listening or watching that has had like major reason, it does help. Like you just go off. Like 10 pages, it doesn't matter. No, get it all out.
I find that I write my journal for that exact reason.
Yeah.
I write on the thing I'm angriest about and sad about.
Well, that's good. You're doing it because a lot of times I just can't go there in my head and I'm never going to confront the person. So I need to get it out.
It's so funny because sometimes I'll be in bed and Jenny will look over and I'm like writing in my journal and she'll be like, uh-oh.
She's like, who are you angry
it's
at?
It's such a tell.
Yeah.
Me writing in my journal is such a tell.
But that's good you do that.
Yeah, no, I think it's really positive. I suggest it to everybody I'm close to.
Well, this is the thing. That's why you're so funny, because you work on yourself. The best, in my opinion, the best comics work on themselves. I really believe that.
The final thing we do in the show is working it out for our cause. Is there a nonprofit that you like to contribute to? And we will contribute and link to them in the show notes.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Well, my daughter has heart disease. I'm very open about it. And I get so many messages like, oh my God, thank you for talking about my daughter. Isabella, who's a 9.5-year-old, has had 4 open heart surgeries.
Oh my gosh.
The first one, she was 8 days old. So we knew when she was not even born yet. And we go to Columbia Presbyterian, and they have an amazing pediatric heart unit.
That's great.
So you can give to the Children's Heart Foundation that's a great organization and cause, and that would be amazing.
Okay, so we're going to contribute to the Children's Heart Foundation. We're going to link to them in the show notes. And Jessica Kirson, congratulations on your special.
Thank you,
it's
Mike.
So funny. I couldn't recommend it more highly. I'm thrilled that the thousands and millions of people who have found you in the last few years, because it's the thing that comedians have known for years and years and years.
Thank you for saying that.
It's so great to see all this popularity from it.